Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spin Rack, and we also have.
Calvin Ellis, we're ready to rock.
So today we found out there's gonna be a new DCU Supergirl, right? And it's Emilia Jones, who I have no idea what she's
It
been
is.
in before this. Do you know this actress?
I don't know her. Is she? You're sure she got the role, or she's just in contention?
Just a contender so far, but she refused to
Okay,
read for the
okay,
role.
cool. Yeah, they may want to. Yeah, I was thinking because well, I kind of agree with like somebody else's analysis of what Supergirl should actually look like, and I don't think. Well, you know what? Let's get into the story.
Well, she refused to read. You're a name or you're not a name, you can decide whether to not read or not. But we shouldn't even know about this. So many people decide that you know what, I'm not reading for this. Like I mean, there was what's a movie? What's a George Clooney movie? Oh man! After George Clooney did the movie with Michelle Pfeiffer, the studio was like, we cannot afford him to have no chemistry with. Well, there's no reason why he shouldn't have had chemistry with Michelle Pfeiffer. But anyway, ultimately they decided in the movie that he did with Jennifer Lopez that they were going to have people read for it, and women just said, "Nope, not reading." Stars, big stars, are like not reading, and then Jennifer Lopez, who wasn't a big star, who had been showing up in movies, said, "I'll read," and then they only talked. They didn't talk. They didn't say who turned it down, but a lot of people turned it down, saying like, we're established, and here, ultimately it should not be news because at the same time, if she's not picked and the next thing works, then people will be trashing her, saying, "Yeah, why didn't she read? Why didn't she read this and the other?" Actors are notoriously against reading, and at the same time, many of our favorite actors, one being Benicio del Toro, he came in and for Usual Suspects, and he said, he was like, "Don't read, and come up with a character, and if you don't like the character, we come up with another character." And Brian Singer was like, "Great," and then, well, this is a longer story. The writer who wrote The Usual Suspects, he was totally against Benicio del Toro. He was like, he's nothing. The actor is supposed to be older, and like he's totally not supposed to be this guy. And basically, he said Benicio called him up and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about my lines. I don't want about this." The police officer basically strip searching him and sticking his finger to see if he's hiding anything, rectally. And he said, my character wouldn't do that. And he's like, "What are you talking about? If you're in the police, it has to happen." So they had this long argument. And then he said, they got through that. He said, "Hey, it's your part. You know what to do." And he said, "By the way, what are you doing?" He's like, "Well," he said, "My character has a Jewish name, but I'm Puerto Rican. And then the makeup artist, they wax my eyebrows. So I look Chinese. So I'm going to play it like a Puerto Rican Chinese Jew." And the writer heard it, and he was like, he said at that point he wasn't supposed to talk to the actors, even though Benicio asked to talk to him. So they're like, they can't say anything. So the first time he heard it, no one could understand it. And then I think Brian Singer just went with it, saying, "This is interesting." And ultimately, Benicio del Toro stole the whole movie. So that long story to say, you can decide not to read and it can work for you. So what do you say about this? Her reading or not reading, and what you were initially saying about her, you feeling her not being a part for Supergirl.
Uh, I don't know who she is. So the whole
Let's
idea of
find that
her,
out.
like, I'm not reading for the. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who she is, and I would expect that from someone like George Clooney at the stage of, at the stage where he was at in his career, or any of these other people, because a lot of times these scripts are brought to them. These scripts are brought to them, or they're like, oh, they even develop projects with these particular actors in mind. So I can understand where they get to the point where, like, oh no, I'm not reading for it, because you're supposed to get to a point where, look, I arrived. I don't want to go through that part of the process. Uh, and then I'll hear about people who do read for the roles, but those are the people who I guess want to work with that director, and they're willing to do that to get on board. So but even then, these are established. That's usually with an established actor. I've never heard of this actress before. So the idea of her saying, "I don't want to read," is akin to me. Akin to me, that would be akin to me of her saying, "I don't want this role. I don't want it." Because I'm not willing. I'm not willing to audition or do the work that's necessary in order to have it. So, and she's not the chosen. She's rather she hasn't been chosen for the part. I believe there's a three-way contention with two other actresses. So hey, if she gets the role, I guess she knows something that I don't. But I would think that you read, so people see that you actually have the ability and the chops for this role. That and I said this much when they went out and they got uh, when they gave the casting news for the Superman film with Superman Legacy, and I wasn't on board with the casting. The casting for Superman, I didn't have an issue with. I think that Corin Sweet will probably, I think he looks like once he, puts on a little muscle, he's got the height. They pretty much got like a younger looking version of Henry Cavill, so that was okay. I didn't really see too much problem with him. However, in terms of Lois Lane with Rachel Brosnahan, I just don't think that she's attractive enough for Lois Lane. I always felt that Lois Lane is a very attractive woman. She doesn't strike me as that. Now a lot of people are, I guess, they're going to go with the whole she's going to act and she's going to win people over that way. I'm like, hey, I'm certain Rachel Brosnahan will be a fine actress, but in terms of the look, didn't really have it for me. And in terms of Supergirl, Supergirl's supposed to be a very pretty girl at the end of the day. I don't see that here either. So hey, they're going for something different. They're going for something different. Uh, I'm not exactly sure what it is because part of the appeal of Supergirl is that she's very attractive. She doesn't have any seminal stories. She is not this character who really stands on her own without being tied to Superman. And that's been since her debut in the 1960s. So I'm not sure what it is that they want to do, but that was part of the draw that got, her following was that she was a, cute or pretty girl. That was one of the things that they got the readership in with the boys who were reading the book in the 60s and from there on. So, it's what can I say? 21st century, 2024. I guess they know something I don't, but hey, we'll see.
Well, I just one of the things that this way that they're going about the business is just allowing us fans to chew up the talent as much as we can. Whereas, and I always go back to you know, like the Terrence Howard thing and saying he's a bad actor and we don't like him and this that, and the other. And it's like, did you watch Iron Man and did you like the chemistry? That sort of thing. So it was like, but they allowed us to be the ones to attack. And this one, the piecemeal information to be like, hey, or, all right, Jeff Loeb is partners with Ike to say, oh, he's a racist like Ike and he's a sexist like Ike, or that sort of thing, where they just try to say these things and let us, the audience, say, oh, the person wanted more money. In a successful thing, why not? He said, well, they don't know you. They know what's the name. He said, but you got a success. No, they shouldn't pay. Let's turn it to the audience, and see what they feel. Yeah, take nothing, and then you're at your job fighting for money and saying, I haven't gotten a raise in X, Y, Z. So it's like one of those things where they just turn to the people and let us bite it, because we shouldn't really know about any of this. It should be some DVD extra thing where we talk about her not reading and that sort of thing. Whereas I think ultimately we have some classic people who read and tanked the role, like we have and Sam Jackson in Pulp Fiction. We can't not look a thing about Pulp Fiction without him, but he definitely, since he was, no, actually, the person he initially wanted was Lawrence Fishburne, but when Lawrence Fishburne had turned it down, he immediately was like, yes, so Sam Jackson, that is perfect, and he tanked that audition. And the same with, well, there's a difference with Smokey, Chris Tucker in Friday, where he didn't want to be in Friday at all. He was totally against it and totally tanked the audition. And Faison Love, who you can, who's in the news now with the Cat Williams stuff, he said, look, I'm going to be in the movie. you be in a movie. It's gonna be cool. I know we're not really rocking with. We don't understand. We're not really with Ice Cube, but we'll both be in it. It'll be fun. So he worked with them, and then next you know he went back to Cube and auditioned and killed it. So ultimately, the hard part is that these behind the scene things, which we all love, is always better to have it in your DVD behind the scenes when you have someone who's a huge star. And like the finding out that Lawrence Fishburne was going to be Jules and was first thought to be Jules in Pulp Fiction, or who's the name, Will Smith, supposed to be Django, and he was the front runner for that way before. Where people say, "Oh, I can't imagine another Django except for Jamie Foxx. He was made for that role." Well, no, actually, it was Will Smith, and he said, I think we should make some script changes, or else, I gotta bow out. So ultimately, let's see how it goes. And if this is a movie, TV show, or just a bit part in the Superman legacy story. So I'm not sure what it is yet, because I'm not sure the full lineup of stuff. Is this going to be the Supergirl of tomorrow? Is that what this is?
This is supposed to be the Supergirl or Superwoman of tomorrow story, and that story, to be quite honest, is really shaky. So, I mean, it was written by Tom King, and I think it resonated with a certain group of people. But
Yeah.
see, that's never good. It's never good that it resonates with a certain group of people, and then you have a longtime Superman reader like myself who reads it, and you're like, "What is this? What the hell? I don't understand." And this is like his own little flight of fancy on some story he wants to do with the character. It's like, okay, we want to adapt this. Like, I mean, I understand that she doesn't really have any particular storyline that is just ready to adapt. She's never had one of those, but she has had very solid runs, similar to what I would say with Wonder Woman, where I don't there's no real big storyline that pops out, but she's had very solid runs that you can say, okay, there's some stuff over here we can adapt in terms of supporting cast, in terms of character, in terms of some things that work, and then we'll have to do a little bit of the heavy lifting in terms of the major thrust that gets that major thrust of the major conflict at the end of the day that's going to make people riveted in terms of what we're showing them. I understand that, but the other stuff where like, let's take this one. Like, why? I was like, it's such a contentious story at the end of the day. Ugh, mean too. But hey, I guess I'll keep saying what is it? I'm gonna be like a skipping record this outing. I guess they know something I don't.
All right, then. I guess we're going to end here. Hopefully, they figure out who it is between Millie Alcock, Amelia Jones, and Meg Donnelly. So we got three
I guess
girls.
the first one.
Hmm?
I guess the first one who sits and reads for the role has got the part.
Well, they upset somebody. They went to the press and complained. But anyway,
I can
good
see
luck.
that now. You're gonna read for this part. Are you gonna read? What is it? Are you gonna read for this part? You know I can't read.
Oh no, now you're going into some earthquake territory. All
You
right,
know I can't read.
ready? Spin the rack.
We're out.
Out.